Imagine a single moment in history so powerful it could destroy entire cities in an instant. Lives erased in seconds. Families vanished. The world's future forever altered. This is the story of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the day humanity saw the unimaginable power of nuclear weapons. Stay with us, because the full story, the human cost, and the chilling legacy will shock you. In the late summer of 1945, the world had been engulfed in the flames of the Second World War for 6 long, brutal years. Europe was in ruins, its cities scarred and its people exhausted. But in the Pacific, the conflict raged on with a ferocity that seemed endless. The Empire of Japan, despite facing overwhelming odds, refused to surrender. The United States and its allies, desperate to end the war and avoid a costly invasion of the Japanese mainland, an operation they estimated could cost over 1 million Allied lives, were faced with a terrible choice. They had developed a new weapon, one of secret and terrifying power, born from the minds of the world's most brilliant physicists. This was the atomic bomb, and the decision was made to use it. The world was about to change forever. The morning of August 6, 1945, dawned clear and bright over the city of Hiroshima. It was a bustling industrial hub, home to hundreds of thousands of people going about their daily lives. Children were heading to school, workers were starting their shifts, and families were preparing for the day. At 8:15 a.m. local time, a single American B-29 bomber, the Enola Gay, flew high above the city. From its belly, it released a single bomb, nicknamed Little Boy. For 43 seconds the bomb fell, a silent harbinger of doom. And then, it detonated. In a flash brighter than 1,000 suns, a sphere of fire a kilometer wide consumed the heart of the city. The temperature at the hypocenter reached millions of degrees Celsius. People, buildings, and everything in its path were instantly vaporized, leaving nothing behind but shadows burned onto stone, eerie outlines of human beings who had ceased to exist in the blink of an eye. The blast wave that followed was apocalyptic. It traveled faster than the speed of sound, flattening nearly everything within a 2-kilometer radius. Wooden houses crumbled like sandcastles. Concrete structures were gutted. The city that had stood for centuries was obliterated in a matter of seconds. A terrifying mushroom cloud, a mix of dust, smoke, and radioactive particles, billowed tens of thousands of feet into the sky, casting a dark, ominous shadow over the devastation. For those who survived the initial blast, a new horror began. The heat wave ignited fires that merged into a massive firestorm, sucking the oxygen out of the air and turning the city into a furnace. Survivors, many suffering from horrific burns and unimaginable injuries, wandered through the rubble in a daze, their clothes burned away, their skin peeling off. They spoke of a city of ghosts, a silent, hellish landscape where the familiar world had been replaced by death and destruction. The immediate death toll is estimated to be over 100,000. But this was only the beginning. News of the unprecedented destruction was slow to reach the Japanese leadership, who struggled to comprehend what had happened. The United States issued a warning, demanding surrender and threatening a rain of ruin from the air, the like of which has never been seen on this earth. But no surrender came. So, 3 days later, on August 9th, another B-29 bomber, Boxcar, took to the skies, this time carrying a more powerful plutonium bomb nicknamed Fat Man. The primary target was the city of Kokura, but heavy clouds obscured the view. The plane diverted to its secondary target, Nagasaki. Nagasaki was a city built among hills, which partially contained the bomb's destructive force. But at 11:02 a.m., when Fat Man detonated, the devastation was no less horrific. The Urakami Valley, where the bomb exploded, was annihilated. The city's famous Urakami Cathedral, one of the largest in East Asia, was destroyed. Thousands were killed instantly. Factories, schools, and homes were leveled. Once again, survivors described a surreal and nightmarish scene. A black, oily rain, thick with radioactive fallout, began to fall from the sky, contaminating everything it touched and poisoning those who desperately drank it to quench their thirst. The suffering, however, did not end with the blasts. In the days, weeks, and years that followed, a silent killer stalked the survivors: radiation sickness. People who had seemed unharmed began to experience mysterious and terrifying symptoms: hair loss, bleeding, and internal decay. Cancers, particularly leukemia, appeared at alarmingly high rates. The bombs had not only destroyed cities, they had poisoned the very DNA of the survivors, leading to birth defects and health problems that would affect generations to come. These survivors, known as hibakusha, or explosion-affected people, carried both physical and deep psychological scars for the rest of their lives. Faced with this unimaginable power and the threat of more attacks, Emperor Hirohito of Japan made the unprecedented decision to intervene. On August 15, 1945, the people of Japan heard their emperor's voice for the first time as he announced their nation's surrender in a radio broadcast. World War II was finally over. The use of the atomic bombs brought an end to the deadliest conflict in human history, but it did so at a terrible cost and opened a new, frightening chapter for humanity: the nuclear age. The world now lived under the shadow of the mushroom cloud, with the knowledge that our own technology could lead to our extinction. The debate over the decision to use the bombs continues to this day. Supporters argue it was a military necessity that saved more lives than it took by preventing a bloody invasion of Japan. Critics, however, argue that it was a horrific act against civilian populations, and that Japan may have been close to surrender anyway. They question the morality of unleashing such a weapon on the world. Regardless of where one stands on the debate, the stories of Hiroshima and Nagasaki serve as a powerful and enduring reminder of the human cost of war and the catastrophic potential of nuclear weapons. The cities themselves have been rebuilt into vibrant, modern metropolises, but at their heart lie memorials and peace parks, dedicated to the victims and to a single solemn vow: never again. The Peace Memorial in Hiroshima, the skeletal dome of a building that miraculously survived near the Hypo Center, stands as a stark symbol of that day. Every year, people from around the world gather there to remember, to reflect, and to recommit to the pursuit of a world free from nuclear weapons. The stories of the hibakusha are shared to ensure that future generations never forget what happened. They are testaments not only to immense suffering, but also to the incredible resilience of the human spirit. The events of August 1945 are more than just a history lesson. They are a profound warning. They challenge us to think about the consequences of our actions, the ethics of power, and our shared responsibility to build a more peaceful and secure world. The shadows on the walls of Hiroshima are a permanent reminder that in the face of such destructive power, our common humanity is our only hope. Thank you so much for joining us for this important story. If you found this video meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. And please, share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation for peace going. Until next time.